Hello, lady. How you doing, lady? Me. Uh, Trying to get everything still set up, but I noticed you were here, so I thought I'd drop in and say hi. Uh, just Still trying to get everything set up, so just give me a little bit. Uh, all right, here we go. Percy, hello. How you doing? Welcome. I'm just getting everything set up, so what the heck? Uh, hey, girly, how you doing? All right, now I'm all set up. So, how's everybody doing today? Uh, Next week, a lot of you know that my mother's still living. And next week will be her 98th birthday. I wish I could go home, but it's kind of hard to travel in this part of the United States during the winter. They're calling for about a couple feet of snow up around Buffalo, which I have to drive through if I go back home. Uh, and that's this weekend, but you never know. Hey, Mike, welcome. Uh, you never know what the weather's going to bring. So, unless it's really an emergency, I don't go home during the winter. It's well over 650, about 670 miles one way, and uh, you just don't know what kind of weather you're going to get during the winter. I mean, I don't mind rain, I don't mind cold, but trying to drive in wind, they're talking like blizzard conditions, which means heavy snow and high winds. So that's not very safe to be driving in that. You never know when that's going to happen. You also never know when if you get ice, that's even more dangerous than snow. It can cause your car to slide and slide off into a ditch or slide into and cause you to wreck and either hurt yourself or maybe even kill somebody because of it. So for me to go home during the winter, it's got to be a catastrophic event that takes me home. Uh, yeah, Mike, they're calling for really bad weather all throughout the Northeast right now, which is where I live. Uh, my area is not that bad right now, but I'm a lot farther south in the Great Lakes. It is going to be cold. It's going to be like get down to zero, where I don't know what the wind chill is going to be. Today it was quite warm. I got out and did a lot of running. I got more running to do. I'll probably do it tomorrow. Hey, Rob, welcome, sir. If you want, click on the link above there and you can come up and we'll talk. You can tell people about yourself. You're more than welcome. Uh, so, like I said, it's not my oldest sister who's retired, so they don't have to worry about the weather as much as they just got to worry about when they leave, make sure they're not going to get hit by the weather. Let's talk about going home for our mom's birthday. She lives up in Rochester area where I used to live, and but her back's been bothering. My sister has I forget what they call it. Mike will tell you. It's a real bad curvature of her spine. I mean, really bad. It takes her height down about almost 2 inches. That's how bad the curve is. And so she stands about 4'11", 5 foot. She'd be about 5'2" if it wasn't for the curvature, which causes her some great pain sometimes when she travels long distance in a car. And yeah, in this area, up in Buffalo and Rochester area where I used to live, it's coming starting I think tonight and going through Monday. They're calling for like 2 to 3 feet of snow up in Buffalo. They've already transferred the game from Sunday to Monday night for the Buffalo Bills because of safety concerns. Uh, but like I said, I've been back home and it was a lot earlier in the year. It was in October. And this was many years ago. My sister and I went back home to visit the family. She went with me. And we get a call from her husband because he's still working at this time. That's how many years ago it's been. And it's been well over 20 years. It's been close to 25 years ago. And he's telling us they're calling for a big snowstorm in Cleveland, which we have to go through to get home. Well, when we got to Cleveland, they already had over a foot of snow. It was still snowing. A drive that normally takes me half an hour or so took me about 2 hours to get through there because you had to slow down way, way down. And it was white knuckle driving. Got through there, and we stopped in Erie, Pennsylvania, because my friend that lived in Erie at the time, we stayed at her and her husband's house. And we left the next day. Well, they ended up getting 6 inches of snow the next day, but we made it home without any more snow. But like I said, it was white knuckle driving for over 2 hours for a normal about a half hour drive. And I've been through that before since then in other areas. So like I said, unless I really have to travel long distance during the winter, I don't. Yeah, Rob, I get all weather tires. I don't get winter tires. I have a all wheel drive. I got a Subaru. It's all wheel drive. Uh, Sorry to hear about the Columbia having a huge mudslide and 30 people killed. I wish I could do that, Rob, but I'm a security guard, so I have to go in. They won't pay me to stay home. If I stay home, I don't get paid. So I have to go in. And but tomorrow I'm off. Today I was off. I went out and did enough that if something happens and it gets real bad tomorrow, I can just stay home. I don't have to go anywhere. If it doesn't get bad, I'll get out and run around a little bit. I got some things I can do, and but otherwise I'll just stay home. It all depends on the weather. Hey Tim, how you doing, sir? If you want to come up, come on up. The link's up there at the top. Anybody that wants to come up and say hi or stay for the whole show is more than welcome to come up. I can have quite a few visitors. No, I don't get a discount on that, Mike. But I've used all season tires for years. I hadn't had trouble with them. Uh, but my last few cars had either been all wheel drive or 4-wheel drive. My my two Rav4s, and I had a Camry in between there that wasn't all wheel drive or 4-wheel drive. But my two Rav4s were a 4-wheel drive, and my Subaru's all wheel drive. So but I do pretty good. Like I said, you just slow way down compared to your normal driving. And so if the weather's bad, you have to leave earlier. Yeah. I showed you there was a video I did, a short I did on this one last snowstorm, which was actually a week ago tomorrow, and how bad it got. I went out that night. It started actually a week ago today and snowed through to tomorrow. Got about, I'd say, close to 7 inches. I went out and cleaned the car off, so when I left for work on Monday, it wouldn't take me long to get it cleaned off, which it did. Oh, you're going to get a Tundra, huh? You want that pickup truck? I like the SUVs. I'm not a big fan of pickups. There's nothing wrong with them. I I just prefer SUVs. I used to like the sedans, but I got that Rav4 years ago, and it was totaled. Somebody rear-ended me and pushed the spare tire up to the back seat, and so I got a Camry because, like I said, I always liked the Camrys before, and it was like, man, I miss the SUV. I mean, it just like a step back, and I just really couldn't take the Camry. So I traded it in and got my second Rav4, and then it got totaled in 2021. I got T-boned, and this is during the chip shortage, if you all remember. And so I went looking for cars, and I was looking to get a Forester, but all the new ones were spoken for, and it would be at least a month before I could get one. And so they did have the I got the Crosstrack, which they had on the lot. They had two of them, but they were the premium package, so they were the expensive package. Hey, Yen, how you doing? But it was like, it was either get that or. Well, let me tell you why I didn't get to use Forester. I looked at one that was 3 years old compared to the brand new ones, and it was only $3,000 less. Now, if that had been a year old and $3,000 less, I'd have bought it. But 3 years old and $3,000 less, nah, it was overpriced if you ask me. So I bought the brand new one. First brand new car I ever bought in my life was this Subaru Crosstrack. And I only bought it because, like I said, the used cars were just too high. Not like the Buffalo area, Tim. They're calling for almost like 2 to 3 foot of snow up in Buffalo. The Buffalo Bills were supposed to play a wild card game tomorrow, and Governor Hochul said no, it's going to be changed to Monday. So they'll be playing on Monday. The game starts Eastern time, 4:30. In the afternoon, so it'll be 4:30 Tuesday morning for you guys. But I should be home, and if the game's on TV, I'll probably watch it. I'm a Colts fan. Most people know that know me. But I do like the Bills, so I'll be rooting for the Bills because my Colts aren't in the playoffs. So it gives me a team to root for. I really do hope they do it. The Cowboys, they're playing this weekend too, but I'm trying to remember who they're playing. I can't remember. The Philadelphia Eagles blew out. Who was it? Los Angeles? No, Minnesota Vikings. They were blowing them out. Chargers fan. They're playing this weekend too, aren't they? They made the playoffs, if I remember right. Okay, yeah. I used now, Rob. I don't know how old you are, but I used to be a Chargers fan back in the '70s with Don Coryell, if you remember, and Dan Fouts and John Jefferson and Caleb Winslow Sr. Chuck Muncie. Oh God, there was a fun team to watch. I was in the Navy back in the '70s, and I was stationed in San Diego. That's when I became a Chargers fan. They were still in San Diego at the time. Yeah, then you don't remember them. The team was known as Air Coryell because man, they threw that ball around like crazy. They were the greatest show on turf before the well, it was St. Louis Rams then. Now it's the Los Angeles Rams, but back then it was St. Louis Rams. The greatest show on turf. But yeah, and I switched over from the Chargers to the Colts in '84, March of '84. That's the midnight run of the Mayflowers. Now, in case for a lot of you don't remember, and I know the Filipinos don't. '84 is when the Indianapolis Colts, well, at that time they were the Baltimore Colts, left Baltimore, moved to Indianapolis. It was at midnight on the 31st of March, and they used Mayflower moving vans to move out. The reason why they did it that way was the governor or the mayor of Baltimore, the governor of Maryland or the mayor of Baltimore, was talking about using eminent domain and taking the team away from Bob Irsay, Jim Irsay's dad. And Bob Irsay said, "You want to bet?" He packed everything up and moved out at midnight when the contract ran out. Moved to Indianapolis and to the RCA Dome. Well, at that time it was the Hoosier Dome, and then later became the RCA Dome. Now it's Lucas Oil Stadium. And I became a Colts fan at that time because back in '84 it was really hard to keep up with the Chargers because we didn't have the internet. There was no internet. I didn't get to watch their games because I only got to watch the local games back then. So I was watching the black and blue vision, Green Bay, Minnesota Vikings, Chicago Bears, the Lions, and then I got to watch some of the Ohio teams play as well. because that was my area. And so when the Colts moved, I got to watch all their games. And so I slowly started rooting for them. I started rooting for them right away, but I slowly gave up on the Chargers just because, what I said, there was no internet. You couldn't watch the team. I couldn't watch them play. And C.J. Stroud is a good player, Mike. At rookie quarterback, I think they hit on a winner there. Now, we're still debating on whether Anthony Richardson is going to be our winner. He looked promising until he got hurt. But we'll see. He should be healthy and ready to go next season. He was doing a heck of a job himself. Hey, Ed, how you doing? But we'll see. Like I said, we're just waiting to see how everything's going. But I want to thank everybody for coming. And we're hoping to have a good time. Hopefully somebody will join me here in a little bit. I'm glad to hear that, Ann. I hope everybody in your family is doing well too. I'm doing well. I did a lot of running around today. Got everything I had to take care of this weekend taken care of. Like I said, they're calling for a snowstorm, but that I believe is going to stay north of me. At least the worst of it will stay north. I may get some, but it won't be the worst. The worst is going to be way up there towards Rochester and Buffalo, New York, up around the Great Lakes. And I'm quite a few hours south of there. I may still get some snow. And if I don't get any snow or very little snow, I'll run around some tomorrow. If I get quite a bit of snow, or looks like I'm going to get quite a bit of snow, I'll just stay home and hunker down and watch football. I mean, And I appreciate you being here. I appreciate everybody showing up and just trying to keep things going. And LV, 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 LV. Welcome, LV. How you doing? I hope you're doing well. But yeah, Rob's here, LV. I've been trying to get him to come up, but he won't do it. And Mike, would be nice to have Mike come up, or Tim. You, LV, if you want. That would make a lot of my Filipino followers a little more comfortable because they can ask questions in Tagalog and you can answer them. Whereas, you all know I don't speak Tagalog. I barely speak English. Let's be honest about it. But we'll see. We'll see what's going on. But yeah, it's good to see that everybody's here and having fun. Dan, I don't think will be here. He's out of town. He's not home. They're him and Mad Minnie are enjoying themselves. I probably should walk more than I do, but that's my. If I got down on the floor and tried to do a push up, I might get the push up done or two, but I would have a very hard time getting back up. I got arthritis in both knees, both hands, and I have to be near something to help push myself back up. Yeah, Tim, you're right. I speak American. You're correct. I speak American English. It's not the King's English, and like I said, I still barely speak it. Well, I walked over today. I only got a little over 7,000 steps in. Yesterday I got over 8. The day before that over 8. Wednesday over 7. Tuesday I was kind of lazy, but I wasn't feeling very well, but so I got just a little over 5. Monday I got over 7. So I try to get minimum 6, and I want to get back up to where I'm getting 10,000 steps. Hello, Beth. How you doing? I got to do. I had great news. I had a doctor's appointment this week. And as many of you know, I'm diabetic. And as diabetics, they like to keep your numbers in the your A1C is what I'm talking about, like under 7.5. Mine was 6.3. Now, if you're normal, you're down in the fives. All right. But I'm glad to hear, Beth, that you're doing well. And so everything, all my checkup went well. So I don't have to go back for 6 months. And I had been going back every about 4 months. So now it's going to be 6 because everything was so well. I was down. I've lost weight again. I'll probably do a short. Because it didn't seem right. I thought I would have stayed about the same. So I'll have to check it at the gym next time I go over, and I'll do a video and show you what I weigh and see if the gym weight scale is compared to the VA scales about the same or not. Because it really shocked me because I was wearing boots, which I normally, when I weigh myself, wear tennis shoes. And so I was dressed a little heavier than normal. And so I don't know what you're apologizing for. There was nothing on Elvis' chat that I hold a grudge against. I don't hold grudges. I don't even remember. Hey, we got Jack Hobson coming up. Jack, it says you've been at it, but yet you're not there. There you are. I'm going to say, because every time I had you come up and then it wasn't showing your picture. And if I went over, it said remove it. I'm going, he's not there. How you doing, Jack?
I'm doing good.
All right. Like I was saying, though, I had the VA appointment on Tuesday. And all my numbers came back normal or, except for my, my A1C. But they were really happy with it because it was 6.3 for a diabetic. That's doing real well. I don't take insulin. I don't use insulin. I do take glipizide. I don't use metformin, but I have a shot they give you. It's a once a week shot, and I took it yesterday. I do it on Fridays, and it did increase that from the last time, and
Yeah, I think I lost like over 50 pounds from, I call it my Philippine diet.
I understand, Rob, but a lot of those people like to cause drama. They have no life, if you ask me. I mean, they're worse than I am. This is the most fun thing I do all week. Right here, the live stream. I love doing the live stream. Hey, Christy, how you doing? But it is. I work 5 days a week. I work 40 hours. Once in a while, I'll run around with a friend of mine if they need to go do something. But that I don't do that every week. I usually do it about once a week. And I do the shorts that you see or our video. But the most fun thing I do for me is the live stream.
Yeah.
I try not to spend too much. I spend money that I shouldn't spend. I'm going to be honest with you. But I'm a lot better than I used to be because I am finally able to start digging out of debt instead of adding to it. So if everything goes right within a year, I'll be outside of my car, my living expenses. I'll have my bills paid off. But I don't plan on quitting work just because I have that done. I want to save money because eventually, like I said, everybody in here knows that I want to move to the Philippines. I at least go over and see if I could take the Philippines. Let's be honest. I mean, I haven't been there in 40 years. No, longer than that. Almost 50 years, 49 years.
Wow.
Last time I was there, I was 21, man. I'm 70.
Wow.
Yeah. But
I ended up gaining 10 pounds.
But did you want to gain the weight?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, my heaviest, now, this is the honest God truth, my heaviest, I was about 375 pounds. I'm under
Really?
300. It's been over
My
20 years
heaviest-
since it's been over 20 years since the last time I was under 300. So I mean, it's been
my
a long
heaviest
time.
was 220. When I came here and I went to the hospital, I was 210. And when I reweighed again during a checkup, I was 145. And the doctor, he got mad.
The lightest I've been at full grown, the age I am, the full height that I am now, was probably around 180, 175, 180. That's when I was 18. Fresh out of boot camp.
I ended up going to there's a store that sells like detergents, like laundry detergent, stuff like that, all kinds of cleaning chemicals. And he's got a scale, and they stepped on it. And I'm like, whoa, I gained some weight. That's good. So I'm gonna piss off my doctor when I see him in like 4 months.
Mike just said Houston won 45-14 against the Browns. What was the final score of the Eagles-Vikings? I know the Eagles was putting a hurting on the Vikings at the time. But I didn't hear the final score.
Let me Google it. I'll Google it for you.
Hey, Mike, every pound you lose is better than a pound gain. It's that simple. If you're overweight, every pound you lose is better than a pound gain. But yeah, like I said, the Buffalo doesn't play now. They were supposed to play tomorrow, but they're not going to play now until Monday because of the snowstorm coming. Be happy you're not here in Michigan right now, but they're calling for a big old snowstorm up this way. They're calling for like 2 to 3 foot of snow.
Eagles 34, Vikings 28.
34-24. The Vikings made a comeback then because they were putting a whipping on them at one time.
But the Eagles got it.
Yeah. Like I said, the Eagles were putting a whipping on the Vikings for a while. Well, I mean a whipping. But that was still, I think it was still third quarter.
Detroit Lions are kicking ass and taking names. Like number 1 right now.
They're either 1 or 2. Yeah, I think they're number 1. But the Bills, yeah, they're number 1 because the Bills are number. No, the Lions are in the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
Who's
number 1 NFC North.
I'm trying to remember who's number 1 in the AFC. It's not Kansas City. I can't remember right offhand. I know the Bills are number 2, and they're playing tomorrow. I mean Monday. They're supposed to play tomorrow. We got knocked out by Houston, so I'm going to root for the Buffalo Bills. Well, I used to live up around Buffalo, and I watched a lot of their games because that's what the local stations carry. I stayed a Colts fan because, I can keep up on them through the internet. And I got the NFL package where I can go in and watch every game after it's over. I can watch the full game or I can watch the highlights. Up to me. So I've been able to stay a Colts fan all these years. Yeah. You either say they're whipping on, they're putting a whipping or a whooping. They're whipping up on them good. They're putting a whooping on them. Taking them behind. They're taking them behind the old shed with a stick, putting a whooping on them. That's an American thing, or at least the Midwest.
AFC East is the Bills. AFC
Bills number 2.
North is the Ravens.
Ravens are number 1, I think, aren't they?
Ravens. Yeah, Ravens is AFC North. AFC South is the Texans.
Yeah.
AFC West is the Kansas City Chiefs.
So I think
NFC Northeast is Cowboys. NFC North is the Lions. NFC South Buccaneers. Oh, there's so many categories. There's so many big categories. NFC West is the 49ers.
They use the term spanking here too, Mike. I think it's more of the East Coast thing, though. I think he's putting a whooping on him is a Midwest thing, I believe. Maybe a Southern thing. I got family from the South, so it might have bled over from them. My grandmother was from.
Put a whooping on you.
Yeah, gonna put a whooping on you. You know, she whipped my behind good.
And you get a belt or something, or
yeah,
stick or something, switch, and put a whooping on your
a stick.
Mm-hmm. One day,
me
and my brother did something bad here in the Philippines, and my dad said, "Go outside and find a stick."
My mom.
We found the smallest little stick, and he was like, "No." He went outside, like ripped down half the damn tree, and just beat the living shit out of us.
My mom, whenever she was going to give me a whipping, she had me bend over and grab my ankles. Because she knew I was going to jump. If I grabbed my ankles before she swung, she knew she'd get me before I could get out of the way. Yeah.
I don't miss the ass whoopings.
Well, I got a lot of them when I was younger, but then again, I deserved them. What can I say? I was a hellion. Always getting myself in trouble. Yeah, Rob, good old whooping. I got many of them. My dad would use a belt.
My dad, he'd pick me and my brother up from school, and if he didn't say a thing on the way home, you're expecting to get your whooped.
Yeah.
So, get in the house, go to your rooms, and you hear his door close, and he's got a rack on the back of his door, whole bunch of belts. And you can hear him rustling through the belts. I'm like, oh, no. So you start pre-crying and stuff.
Oh, yeah. But, no. Like I said, yeah. I got it by the belt many a time. And like an idiot in wood shop in junior high, guess what I made?
A paddle?
Yeah, tapered. It got used a few times on me.
Did you have the speed holes in it?
Yeah. And now my dad was the kind that now a lot of these younger kids don't know. You know, back in the old days, you could get whipped at school. You know,
that happened here when I was in school in the Philippines. I guess my brother did something stupid. And I was walking by the principal's office, and he's beating the guy, my brother, and I jumped on his back.
Yeah. Well, like I said, my dad always told me.
My dad came to school and whooped his ass.
No, my dad told the teachers and the principal, if he needs a whipping, you go ahead and whip him, but you call me because he'll get another one when he gets home.
Double.
Oh yeah, Dad didn't want you getting any trouble at school. I got a few double whippings for the same thing. Now, if my mom or dad whipped me, there's only one time that they both whipped me for the same thing. But Dad normally would not whip me if Mom did. And I won't say how young I was, but I was very young. My mom caught me smoking. And so she whipped my backside pretty good. My dad was driving cross country, so he comes home. And my mom hits him with her famous, guess what your son did?
Oh, boy. Run away.
And so when Dad went to whip me, I said, "Dad, Mom already whipped me for this." And he goes, "I don't care. You deserve a second one." So I got no,
Oh,
man, he won't
damn.
whip me. But my dad would tell my mom, if he does something wrong when I'm gone, you whip him because I'm not whipping him when I come home. You whip the kids when I'm gone. When I come home, if they do something wrong, I'll whip them. But I'm not going to whip them for something that happened a week ago while I was on the road because I don't want them thinking all I do is come home to beat them. All right.
My mom would hit me with the slippers because it's the Filipino thing to do.
Yeah.
But my dad would give me that belt. I've got an extension cord before. Oh God!
That's what Rob
I
said.
got the plug-in ends.
Yeah. Rob said his mom would hit
extension
him
cord.
with her sandal. My mom would do that if there was nothing else around and she had a sandal. But I don't think she ever hit me with a sandal. But if there was nothing else around to hit me with and she thought I deserved it, she'd hit me with whatever she could get her hand on. A wooden spoon.
My mom, last time my mom hit me with her sandals back in Michigan, I grabbed her sandals and I threw them in the corner behind my dresser. And she turned around. She was defeated because she had no ammo.
I talking about my mom only hit me with her hand one time. I mean, but she backhanded me really good. My cousin used to call his mom, my Aunt Gloria, old lady all the time, and she put up with it. And I'm probably about 12, 13 years old, and I looked at Mom, calling her old lady, and she backhanded me. She goes, "I'm not your old lady, I'm your mother." And I said something about George. She goes, "I don't care what my sister Gloria puts up with. I'm not. You do not ever call me old lady again." I mean, I was sitting on the stool. She backhanded me. I fell off the stool on the floor. Believe me, I never called my mom old lady after that either.
I think they call that a pimp slap.
A bitch slap.
Bitch slap.
Yeah.
So the pimp slap is the hand forward, I guess.
I don't know which way was one, but I mean it was backhanded me, and I went clear off that stool onto the ground, onto the floor. Like, man, I never knew my mom could hit that hard with a bare hand. Like I said, that was the last time I ever called her old lady. "Hey, Percy, how you doing?" And Percy's telling you hi, Jack.
Yep, I see.
Backhand. Rob says backhand is a pimp slap. All right.
Your mom pimp slapped you.
Well, she pimp slapped me right off that chair. Let me tell you. Dang. Because I was about 12, maybe 13 years old. I wasn't very old enough to know better, but I wasn't very old. And like I said, my cousin was getting away with it, so I thought it was cool. I'll try it. And it didn't work for me. My cousin George and I got ourselves in trouble all the time. I
don't think I ever pimp slapped or bitch slapped anybody.
But
maybe put it down on my bucket list.
Not me. I go bitch slapping or a pimp slapping somebody, they'd probably knock my ass out. I mean, that'd be it. I'd be a little. Nah, can't see it. But so my cousin George and I were only 11 days apart in age, and his wife, his second wife, the only one I ever met. He got married while I was in the Navy, got divorced while I was in the Navy to his first wife. They were married like 3 months. And he joined the Army for a while. But his wife, which was his girlfriend at the time, hated me before she ever met
me. Wow.
Well, like I said, George and I, we are pretty much a lot alike. Although George is like 6 foot tall, thin, dark hair, dark complected. You know me, I'm short, stubby, and light complected. But
short and stubby.
every time we'd go out together, we'd get drunk. He'd go over and see her. Since she played me for all all these bad habits.
Mm.
And he had to have his tonsils taken out after we got out, not too long after we got out. And he has to see me before he has to see her.
Mm.
And the first time I met her and her family, I was drunk.
Mm.
So like I said, she hated me before she ever met me. And then a few years later, they'd been married for a while. She looked at me, she goes, I used to blame you for all the stuff that George did. She goes, I realize now he was just as bad as you. He was doing that without you. Oh, she loves me now, but like I said, back then for a long time she hated my guts.
Back then, she wanted to bitch slap you.
Bitch slap me, pimp slap me. She just wanted to do something. But yeah,
Maybe she'd do both at the same time.
knowing Mary, she would. Like I said, she loves me now. What can I say? But yeah, like I said, the only time my dad and mom both with me was for smoking, and I was very young. Let's put it this way: 5 years old. So I was very young. I lived in a tough neighborhood,
My mom didn't care that I was smoking because I'm sure she could smell it. But my dad doesn't have the sense of smell. I don't know how he lost it, but I'm like, can I get some money for beer and cigarettes? And dig in his back pocket, get his wallet, and here's some money. Here's a 20.
Yeah.
Like,
I haven't, Crystal, I haven't seen Mac Daddy in quite a while either. Last time I saw him, he was in this chat. And if you all remember, he said something about he's going to have his, I think, eye surgery sometime here pretty soon. He had been in the hospital for like 3 weeks, was home, and then he's going to have some more stuff done.
I haven't seen him in a while.
That's what I said. I haven't seen Mac Daddy in quite a while. I hope he's doing well. Like I said, now Dan is on vacation. They're over, I believe, Bohol. So he's not even doing any live streams. He's putting up some short videos and stuff. By the way, Tim, if they're one of his videos, I can't remember which one, but he shows him drinking a San Miguel. It is a painted label because I asked him because it looked like a painted label, and it was. He's drinking a San Miguel painted label. I know you said you hadn't seen one, but Dan is drinking a painted label.
Dan do a live stream panel. It's just him talking.
Well, he does a lot. He usually does about 4 or so a week.
But I don't see any panels.
This week, like I said, he's been on vacation all this week. But so
this is my vacation.
Well, Coke Zero. Probably should. Hey, ball head.
Zero.
I got another appointment on my mom's birthday. Her 98th birthday is a week from today. Then I go see the dermatologist 2 weeks from today. They wanted me to go in on the 12th, but I just took a day off without pay on the what day was that? Tuesday, whatever day of the week that was. And I didn't feel like taking another day off. And besides, Friday's the day I do most of my supervisor type work that I have to do. That's why I have to do the payroll, I have to do the invoice, that kind of stuff. And
I was watching a video on YouTube about people stealing from work.
Yeah.
Caught was an Amazon person that was doing the packaging, like getting all the stuff together. And this dude had the greatest sleight of hand. He had his gloves on, and he's picking, and he's like ripping out like is an Apple AirPods and Beats. He's just shoving in his glove while he's inside the bin, and he's on camera, like directly.
Well, they probably suspected if they had a camera directly at it. They probably suspected, but maybe somebody thought, I'm not sure. I think he's doing because they do certain things and or they tip off people. Maybe somebody saw him and said, "Hey, look, I can't prove it, but I thought I saw him put something in his gloves." So they, somebody ratted on him.
Somebody's probably walking by, like side eyeing, like,
yeah,
oh, he's doing something wrong. Yeah, snitched on. And then at the end, he did admit to it.
Well, I worked at a Sony corporation back in Terre Haute. They made the CDs and CD-ROMs. And you would see people trying to, had to watch. There wasn't a door in that building I couldn't put a camera, outside door in that building I couldn't put a camera on. Every one of those doors were alarmed. So if you try to open it, we'd know. I had 64 cameras in one building. Okay. I mean, there were certain areas that had cameras that were on all the time. The Sony store, as we called it, had well over $100,000 worth of merchandise in it. It was alarmed, and it had cameras everywhere.
You can't get away with shit.
You got to remember now. This is back. This is back in the '80s when it had that $100,000 worth of merchandise.
Wow.
Which today would be a lot more.
Oh yeah.
But I worked in a warehouse there. I was working 10 hours a day, 4 days a week. And the warehouse, I had one area that was fenced in inside the warehouse. And the stuff that was in there was worth well over $1 million. All right. Now, I probably had a couple $1 million worth of stuff in that warehouse. But that one little section, which was probably not much bigger than my bedroom here, had stuff in there that was worth over $1 million just in that room, that little room. But you know those big gas heaters that take the 2-inch gas pipes to heat them? You know the ones I'm talking about? They're like warehouse heaters. They're up on the cylinder, great big. I had 21 of those brand new inside my warehouse. 21 brand new ones sitting on the shelf in case they needed them. I had all kinds of stuff in there. And my job was that if anybody came in, they had to log in with me. And if they took anything out, I logged it down. If they brought anything in, I logged it down. That was my job. I was there 10 hours a day because that's when it was open. And
good morning, Rama.
But anyway, I had most of the time, I'd work maybe an hour on that 10 hours. Because most of the time, the people would come in just for a few minutes, grab what they needed, or drop off what they, were dropping off, then they'd be gone. They were there like 2-3 minutes. That was it. And then later on, they started assigning people there that worked there the whole shift. And I had one of the big bosses came over, opened up an office, which we didn't have an office till he decided he was going to start working over there all the time and keep a closer eye on the merchandise. So they rented another space next to it and put an office in there, a heater, because the warehouse wasn't heated or air conditioned. It just was. And they got this office area and put a heater in there and more, so the people that were working there could go in there and warm up. I was allowed to go in there too. The boss was a smoker, so this is back when you could smoke at your work area. So we could smoke inside the building. In that area, we couldn't smoke in the warehouse itself, but the office area we could. He brought over a coffee pot. There was free coffee all the time. All that stuff was brought over. So, but before he came, when it got real cold, I'd close it up. I'd lock the warehouse up. I'd go to another warehouse, which was maybe 2 football fields away, if that. I doubt if it was that far. And it was heated, so I could go in there. And whenever somebody needed to come, they would call me on the radio. I'd go over, open it up, stay in there with them. When they left, I'd lock it back up, go back over to the other warehouse where it was heated. Because, like I said, it wasn't heated. So if it got down below zero, and I'm talking 0 Fahrenheit, there was days it'd be down 10 to 15 below. Oh yeah, those radios came in handy. And so for you all at 0 Fahrenheit and no Fahrenheit, that would be about 15 below 0 Celsius, maybe 16. It'd be around that, because what is it, about 2 degrees for every Celsius for every one? I mean, 2 degrees Fahrenheit for every 1 degree Celsius.
I think 32 degrees.
It's close to 2. It's not quite 2, but it's so about 15 degrees below Celsius would be 0 for Fahrenheit. Because when you're 0 Celsius, we're 32 Fahrenheit.
0 Fahrenheit. Oh.
0 Celsius
is 32, I believe. 32 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, like I said, it'd be brutal, and it would get below 0, and you just And before they started letting me go over to the other warehouse, I took a indoor-outdoor extension cord, ran it from the warehouse, ran it out to my car, and I had a little a ceramic heater. And I'd run that ceramic heater until the car got warm. Then I turned the heater off and sat in the car. Whenever it started getting cold again, turn the heater back on, just warm the car up, then turn it back off. So I didn't have to waste my gas. And my boss found out that's what I was doing to stay warm, and that's when he told me, just go to 104, Larry. That was the other warehouse. I worked in 110. I had to go to 14. But it wasn't that far of a walk, so.
32 degrees Fahrenheit is 0 degrees Celsius.
Yes, 32 Fahrenheit is 0 Celsius. Now, what's 0 Fahrenheit to Celsius?
It would be
about 15 below. Maybe 16. Be around 15 to 16 below Celsius, minus. Hey, Satch, I'm sorry I didn't see you come in. Rhoda, how you doing?
Okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense. 32 degrees Celsius is 89.6 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, like I said, there's a big difference. Al-Bahaba, how you doing? Welcome.
A little windy here today.
It wasn't too bad. They're calling for some high wind advisories, but I haven't seen it yet. They were talking about that yesterday, but it didn't hit my area. So maybe they were talking about north of me, because they were, talking about what do they call it? High-profile vehicles to be careful with the wind gusts. Hey, Robert, how you doing, sir? Welcome.
I don't mind the wind. It keeps the house cool, even though it air conditioner's running
Yeah.
upstairs.
Well,
Fan not me right now.
it's too cold to run the air conditioner here. But if I wanted to cool it off, I just open up the windows.
Yep.
Let me
It's
see
like
what the
back
temperature is.
in the day, my old house had a attached garage with 2 garage doors on it, one
Wow.
front, one in the back. And
All
I
right.
got my beer fridge in there, and I just unplug it in the wintertime when it's so
Yeah.
cold, and nothing spoiled, nothing thawed out.
Oh,
Beer stayed cold, the meat stayed cold.
oh,
Life
and
was good.
temperatures like right now, you can put your beer out and you'll have nice cold beer. It's like 3 degrees Celsius right now here in Waterville Lake, which makes it 38 Fahrenheit.
That's
So,
still
I mean, you know,
I still drink it.
yeah, 38, that's nice and cold.
Yeah.
Some people would think that's too cold. But no, I mean, you know, yeah, I used to take beer and put it out in the snow, you know, where you cover it up and people wouldn't know it was there to get your beer cold. Oh, I used to do that when I was
Oh,
working. I worked at a gas station, not a gas station. I did work at a gas station, but I didn't do it at the gas station. I used to work at a restaurant, and I worked at a steakhouse. And we used to take beer and hide it outside in the snow drifts, you know. And our bosses could never figure out why there was never any trash in the building. Because as soon as we got a break, we take the trash out and dump it and have a beer.
hmm.
Well, this is back when I was a
I used,
teenager. Like I said, I was a hellion when I was younger. I'll be
I
honest
used
about it. Hey, Larice, how you doing? Hey, Larice, thank
I love
you for having your Ninja channel join my channel. I appreciate that. Uh, I need to
I used
have
I
my
used to
Ninja
work for a
channel
friend of
join
mine.
yours.
I used to work for a friend of mine, and it was a pizzeria, but he sold it. But he was building a new house after he tore his old house down. This big giant, like 4,500 square foot house. And it's like a little McMansion, and
Yeah.
there's no. Well, the furnace was not connected yet, but there is like some kind of like a propane or kerosene heater in the basement that would heat the whole house up.
Yeah.
And
Thank you, Bubba.
I went to the bar, and I got like a big wine bottle of beer. It was like almost 20% alcohol. I drank half of it when I got back to the house because I was sleeping there in my makeshift bed.
Yeah.
I put it outside in the snow, and I drank the rest of it when I woke up. And my friend calls me, Giovanni calls me, he's like, Jack, the mechanic is on his way. I'm like, oh, no. I hopped in my car and took off. He was talking about the HVAC guy. I'm thinking, like the movie, The Mechanic, is coming to kill me.
Well, you must have been
He's like,
wasted.
oh yeah, he's like, go back to the house and open it up for him. Okay. That was gonna get killed.
Now,
Jason
which
Statham
mechanic
can
movie was
come.
you thinking of? Is that the one with Charles? Was that Charles Bronson? And
Jason Statham.
okay, well, there was one older one, and I think it was Jan Michael Vincent and Charles Bronson was the original mechanic, if I remember right. And
I thought I was gonna get killed. I'm like, I'm out of here. And it was like the middle of the winter time.
yeah,
Driveway wasn't plowed. Street's not plowed yet. It's in a little cul-de-sac. hell out of there. And I'm like, I don't want to get killed.
I gotta say, Robert, I hope you're prepared for that snow. I know you guys in Virginia don't get a lot, so they're supposed to be getting some snow in Virginia Monday into Tuesday. Just remember, go out tomorrow, get whatever you think you need that you can hunker down for about 3 days.
Yep.
And that's all. That's if I don't have to work, that's all I do. I'll just go buy the stuff I need to get through a couple of days and just hunker down and say the heck with it. What I did last weekend. I went out on Saturday and bought everything I needed to get me through to Monday because I had to go out from Monday on work.
Get the just in case type of things you need.
Robert, I'm glad you enjoyed that car, but myself, I happen to be a SUV person. I used to like the coupes, but I don't know. Ever since I got my first RAV4, I don't enjoy the coupes anymore. Like I said, I used to drive I had a Camaro. Listen to me. I had a oh damn it, a Toyota Camry, and I used to drive a friend's Camry all the time and loved it. It's a nice car, but I just miss the SUV. I miss the way you got in and out of them, the way they handle, the way you sat. A pickup truck would be the closest thing to an SUV, but I prefer the SUV over the pickup truck. So
my mom,
the pickup trucks, man, they're getting so big they don't even want to make them small anymore.
My mom gave me her Kia Sorento, 2012, with all the bells and whistles on that thing. Like
I got everything. I got all the bells and whistles on my car, but I wasn't because that's what I was looking for.
And I got a 2011 Ford Taurus, which is in like mint condition.
Well, my second RAV4 was a 2012, and
I convinced my mom to buy herself a new vehicle. Told her to get a new brand new was a Kia Telluride, which is big as hell. And she got mad at me.
Did you suggest she get a new vehicle?
Yeah, she said you should have asked her brother. She's a millionaire. She can afford it. Multi-millionaire.
All right, Robert. I'll look forward to it. Yeah, well, some people that just don't want to spend the money. That's maybe how they got to be that way.
PS3 well, and she's rocking the Telluride, which is big for a Filipino to be driving. That thing's big.
Well, there's talking about Filipino driving. I've told this story before, but I don't know if you've heard it. When I was in the Navy in San Diego, I lived on this apartment house that was like a block away from the Filipino club. So a lot of the Filipinos that belonged to the club were military or ex-military, and their families. And they were having a car wash, raising some money for the kids. So I took my car over. Now, my car was a 68 Chevelle Super Sport convertible, 396, 3-speed, hydro automatic on the floor. It was an automatic on the floor. So I took it in to get the car washed. And I'm talking with this Filipino guy, and his wife's a little Filipino. She had a Toyota B210. Back then it was not Toyota, it was a Nissan, but it was called a Datsun B210 back then, which is a much smaller, much less powerful car. So I'm talking with her husband, and we're just talking it away, and all of a sudden she gets in my car and hit the gas and barked my tires. I mean, my tires squealed. She slams on the brakes, put it in park, and jumps out, thinking she did something wrong. And her her husband and I both just standing there laughing our backsides off. And he goes, no, you didn't do anything wrong. That's just that car. You just barely have to touch the gas and it'll move. You don't have to hit that gas like you do your 210. It's just much more powerful. She would not get back in that car.
Muscle cars.
Yeah,
I'm a mechanic.
Yeah,
and I miss working on cars.
But like I said, she would not get back in that car and move it. I had to get in and drive it over to where the kids were cleaning it. But like I said, I never even really knew what the club was until I took the car over for the kids to make some money for whatever project they had coming up, And
I
was talking with the guy, and I asked him, I said, do you mind if I come by once in a while and get a beer? They had Sam McGill, so I used to go by and get a Sam McGill every once in a while. And if he was there, we'd stand and talk. Otherwise, I'd buy a beer and maybe drink it or take it home. Yeah, I was just 21 going on 22 at that time. Hannah, how you doing?
I think in 77, my dad picked up my mom in the airport in Detroit. My dad scared the hell out of her. Doing 80, 90 miles an hour in the car. She was freaking out.
I've done that. I've done that more than once, especially in that super sport.
I used to rent cars and vans and stuff here, like a 16 or 18 passenger van. Some guy pissed me off here, and he was driving a motorcycle. I chased after him, and my fiance at that time, well, she's ex-fiance for many reasons. And I chased him down, and I caught up to him. I'm barking these tires. These things are getting like the third gear is breaking the tires loose on this diesel. I copped to him, gave him the finger, yelled at him, and the fiance at the time, she's like, "Don't do that." She's so scared. I'm like, "Oh, that's the American road rage coming out of me."
Yeah, Robert, that is quick. He said it hit the car at Audi he drove a while ago. So it went from 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds.
Damn,
that's quick. Now, I don't know how fast I got up to 60. I really don't know how fast it got there, but I do know I picked up a couple guys off my ship that were walking back to the base from downtown, and I had tipped a few. Let's be honest. Back in those days, I was a drinker. I didn't bother drinking unless I was going to drink more than a 6-pack. It just wasn't worth my time. So I had more than that. I probably had a 12-pack or more. And I picked these guys up, and one guy says, how, what will she do? Wrong thing to ask me. I'll show you. I won't tell you. So I kicked it. We flew up over this hill and down around. We're on 101, the coastal highway in California. Go up this hill, fly over the hill, come flying down, and he's screaming. And this guy's in his 30s. All right? I'm 21. He's in his 30s. And he swore to God he'd never ride with me again. I said, look, being a mother, I'll just drive normal. He would not ride the rest of the way with me. He just wouldn't do it.
I did that one time where the road's kind of all like fucked up. I jumped it and came down. I'm still flooring. I'm like, oh no, my God, I'm gonna die.
Hello, Pamela. But no, like I said, it didn't jump the hill. It just the thing about that super sport, it do two things. And I'll say blanking and getting. If you understand what I'm saying, and stopping for gas stations. Because I think almost the speedometer went up, almost as the gas gauge almost went down as fast as the speedometer went up. If you were running that hard, buddy, it was sucking the gas down. But it
My
went flat
my
out.
my bucket list car, still to this day, is 1987 Buick Grand National.
Well, that was
That's
my
what I
favorite
want.
car I've ever owned. The Super Sport. I've owned a lot. I've owned another convertible. I've owned some other car, quite a few other cars, but that Chevelle Super Sport was my favorite. Had black leather
A
interior.
friend of mine, he's got a 87 Grand National. He pulls the motor out every year and just refurbishes it to make it faster and faster. It's like a 9-second car in the quarter mile. I'm like, damn.
Like I said, though,
It's like reconditioned, original paint, no dents, no scratches. You can eat off the top of it or the bottom of it. It's that mint.
mine was in good shape. I wasn't mint, but mine was in good shape. Now somebody had broke out a plexiglass window in the convertible to steal a speaker. One speaker, not two. One of the speakers. They also put a little slice in the top where it was double sided, so it didn't rain in. But it just so you always had to be careful with it. And
All that for one damn speaker. And caused
that's
all
quick.
that damage.
And Audi said the Audi's top speed was 205 miles. I don't think I've ever drove anything that I had a top speed of that, but I have driven it where 150 was top speed or more. I've gotten in the hundreds.
I got pulled over in a 97 Ford Pro GT stock. I raced and I beat a Mitsubishi. I forgot what it was, but I won. But I'm looking over on my my left side. I'm like, who is this drunk MF driving no lights on? Then the Christmas tree lit up. I'm like, oh no. I got pulled over. Me and the girl that I was racing down I-696. We both got pulled over. Got the same ticket. It was
Hey,
reckless
Megan.
driving. Reckless driving. It said it was 149 miles an hour.
Well, I was. This is back in '72. I was home on leave from not probably right after boot camp, and we're going up from Terre Haute to Fort Wayne. That's where my oldest sister used to live. Both my nephews were born in Indiana. The youngest one in Fort Wayne, and I'm cranking down the highway about 110. My mother yells at me. I go, what? She goes, you're going too fast. So I backed off. Song came on. I'm trying to remember the song, but it was one of these songs about racing down the road, and it just kind of just crept up there.
I ended up driving back when I was married. I'm trying to figure out how to say this. My ex-father-in-law's Cadillac CTS. Because I was going to go to my friend's house to work on his house, but my mom called me and told me my dad died, and go to the whatchamacallit, the not funeral home, but where they put the old people, like
Nursing homes.
Nursing home.
That's where my mom's at. She's in a nursing home.
I ended up doing 90 miles an hour in a 45. I'm blowing red lights, not caring, but never got pulled over. So I guess I gave myself PTSD, and I forgot the other thing, anxiety.
Yeah. Well, my talking about speeding, my older brother was heading back to Terre Haute from San Diego, California, being transferred to the Great Lakes, Illinois, the Naval station there. We call it great mistakes. He's going through Texas. He gets pulled over. I think he was doing 110. And so he gets pulled over by the cops to get a speeding ticket. And my dad said something to him. He says, I'm just glad he didn't pull me over a little sooner. He says, I was doing a whole lot faster then. I was like, yeah, that sounds like me. My older brother and I were quite a bit different. Like I said, I smoked, I drank, I cussed. He didn't do any of that. He was about 6 foot. Both my brothers were around 6 foot tall. I'm 5'8". My dad's like 6'3", 6'4". Okay, my mom's like 5'2". So I got stuck closer to mom.
Yeah.
Oh, they were Butt and Jeff couple. If you remember that cartoon, Butt and Jeff was a couple of guys that one was real tall and thin, the other one was short and stocky. So a lot of times, if they say they're a Butt and Jeff couple, there's over a foot difference in height. That's a true Butt and Jeff couple. That was my mom and dad. That's my oldest sister and her husband. They're a Butt and Jeff couple. But yeah, so it was strange. I mean, like I said, I was always speeding. But Jim, like I said, never cussed. I shouldn't say never. I heard him cuss one time. That was it. He smoked. He tried a cigarette back when about the time I got caught and got my backside whipped. He's a couple of years older. He tried it, didn't like it, never smoked again. I don't know if he ever tried alcohol. If he did, he didn't like it, didn't drink. Like I said, Jim's like 6 foot tall, dark hair, dark complected. He took up after my mom's side of the family. My grandmother was half Native American, all right, her mom. So he looked a little more like that side of the family. And I looked more like the German, Irish side of the family. And oh yeah, so I mean, I had reddish blonde hair, a dark red beard. I'm very light complected. The only thing is we both had blue eyes. That was it. I remember when I joined the Navy, when I went in to join, my brother went with me. He was home on leave. And from boot camp, he had just got out of boot camp or maybe a little after that, but he was home on leave. And we walk in, and I got the same recruiter my brother had. So he knows we got the same last name. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm talking with him. And the guy says, well, look, nobody likes boot camp. So don't judge the Navy by the boot camp. Matter of fact, this guy here sitting here has just got out of boot camp not too long ago. He'll tell you. I said, yeah, no, it's my brother. He looked at us. He goes, I knew you had the same last name, but you guys don't look nothing alike. I said, yeah, I know. He's night and I'm day. And Jim would always go, no, you're night, I'm day. But yeah, we were totally different. But I mean, the nice thing about Jim, like I said, he didn't drink. But if you wanted to go partying, he'd go with you. He'd be the designated driver. And he went to many a party with me. And he'd sit there and have a good time, but he didn't drink. So anybody that needed a ride, he'd give them a ride home. He was that way in the Navy. He was that way after we got out. Anytime I wanted to go somewhere, if I wanted a designated driver, I'd just take him with me. Hey, Jim, I'm going to a party. Want to come? Sure, why not? But he'd have a good time without drinking anything or smoking. He was just enjoying himself.
Here in the Philippines, that's hard to find.
It was hard to find in the Navy, let me tell you. I mean, I knew a couple guys that way after the Navy, but not in the Navy. Jim was the only one I knew that I could count on. And that's after he pulled brother duty with me. Now, we were in the Philippines when my brother had thyroid problems. Unlike the guy that you gain weight, he lost weight. He had what they call hyperactive thyroids. He could eat a 7-course meal an hour later, be starving. I mean, starving. He lost weight eating all the time.
That sounds like my cousin. My cousin can eat the whole table of food and just not gain weight. He's thin as the board.
Yeah, like I said, my brother would lose weight. So anyway, They discovered
You're muted.
sorry about that. But anyway, my brother, like I said, would eat a 7-course meal and would lose weight. So we're in the Philippines after he pulled brother duty with me. And this is both our second time overseas. His first one, he went to Nam and all that, good happy stuff on his first ship. So he was a shellback. He crossed the equator. I never did. I'm a polywalk. If you cross the equator and go through the initiation, you're a shellback. I never crossed the equator, so I could never go through the initiation, which kept me a polywalk. But we're in the Philippines in Subic Bay, and it's either the base doctor was looking at him or our ship's doctor. And he looked at his eyes and says, you have thyroid problems. Is what's wrong? And they did a test, and yeah, that's what was wrong. So they shipped him off while we were in the Philippines from Subic back to San Diego Balboa Hospital, which is a big Navy hospital, and treated him for his thyroids and got it straightened out. And from there, he was going from there to Great Mistakes when he got that speeding ticket. They were sending him to the Great Mistakes, which he said if they'd have left him in the Great Lakes, he'd have stayed in for 20 years. But he knew they wouldn't do it, so he got out. He loved the Great Mistakes. His job, the Great Mistakes. He worked four 12-hour days on, and then he'd be off for 4 days. And 4 12-hour days, off for 4 days. 4 12-hour days, off for 4 days. He absolutely loved it because he was close enough to Terre Haute. We had cousins that lived in Iowa then, but now they're back in Terre Haute. But at that time, they were living in Iowa. He could go to either place and spend some time and then go back in time for work. So he never stayed around when he was off. So he's always going somewhere. But yeah. But yeah, we made a partial Westpac together. So, and but yeah. So yeah, he like I said, later on now his thyroids went the other way. They burned out, and he could look at 5 pounds of candy and gain 10. I mean, I used to claim that, but I think he did. I mean, he just couldn't lose weight. He gained weight. Hey, Mildred, how you doing?
Hey, Mildred.
So it was a shame. Now my older brother died at 37 years old. Yeah, he died from what they call at that time, they may still call it this, germ cancer. They're not sure. They think a germ causes it. It's not hereditary. It's it's one of the few cancers that doesn't cause any, maybe the only one that doesn't cause any pain. Highly curable, but usually deadly because it doesn't cause any pain. We knew he had cancer less than 6 weeks before he died. I said we found out.
Bad. It's pretty bad when I think, like, oh, that'd be a good idea for me to go through. It's gonna feel no pain, but no, bad thought.
No. But like I said, he was 37. I was 35. We're 2 years difference. But appreciate it, Mildred. So anyway, the reason why he started having trouble, it was a brain tumor, and he started losing his balance. And so we had to put it. And at first, he hadn't been taking his medication for his thyroid, so and some other. I think he had some other medication, but he wasn't taking his medication. And so my mom put him in the hospital in Terre Haute, and they found out, well, it's this. We could probably have it removed, but we got to send him over to Methodist in Indianapolis. Well, they get over there, and they said, well, it's too far along. There's nothing we can do. And they said 6 months. Like I said, they could have said 6 days have been a whole lot closer because it wasn't even 6 weeks. I think it was like 2 weeks or so, and that was it. And it wasn't
Get
long
myself.
after. It wasn't long after he went over to Indianapolis. It was maybe 2 weeks after he went to Indy, and he passed. So
Might
yeah,
get myself checked out because I think it might be from drinking, but I lose my balance a lot.
well, get checked. I mean,
I have bad feet.
like I said, I go into the VA. I'm going to stop my camera for a moment, but I'm still going to be talking. I go to the VA about every 4 months. Now it's going to be 6 months because my numbers were so good this last time, which makes me happy. I don't mind going to the VA every 4 months. That's fine with me. But I'm just happy my numbers are good enough that they want to cut back. I said it's down to 6.3 by A1C. Now I just got to work to keep it there. And so, but like I said, I used to take metformin. I quit that on my own because of side effects I were having from using it. As soon as I quit taking that, the side effects cleared right up. I mean, I don't think it was even a day, maybe 2 at the most. The side effects were gone. And I took insulin for a very short period of time. What happened there was about 7 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, around 7 years ago. I was on a trip and celebrating my birthday, a friend of mine's birthday, and her daughter's birthday. All our birthdays are within 11 days of each other.
Like all grouped together.
Yeah, they're all grouped together. So we decided to take a trip and celebrate our birthdays. And then we changed hotel rooms on a Saturday to a Sunday, and I forgot to get my medicine out of the one hotel room. So I went downstairs on a Sunday because we were leaving, and the area where the medicine would be, my insulin, was locked up. So it's like, well, I got a few more days. I can't. I don't have it. I just won't take it until I get home. And I kept checking my numbers, and they really didn't seem that different. And I had a doctor's appointment coming up in about 2 weeks or maybe 3 weeks. I thought, I'm not going to take any medicine until I see the doctor. So I go in, I take my blood sugar reader in with me and show him the readings. Showed him I have them written down, and I wrote down when I quit taking the medicine. And he looks at the number and says, there really isn't any difference. He says, quit taking it. You don't need it. It's not, that's when I found out I have what they call Donfenol, which means my sugar's higher in the morning than when I go to bed. It's always higher. I mean, unless I'm really high when I go to bed, it's higher the next day. I've gone to bed and checked it before I go to bed. It was like 89, which is low. That's what it should be if you haven't ate for like 10, 12 hours. I get up the next day, it's almost 200. The next day it was almost 200. I mean, and I didn't eat a thing.
Normal is 120?
For fasting, it should be around 90 to 100 is normal for fasting. That's fasting. That means 10 to 12 hours without eating. So I went to bed where like I said, where it should have been after I slept all day, and got up without eating anything for about 10 hours. It hadn't been that long since I quit eating, but I moving around doing stuff. It was that low. And I got up the next morning. It was like 189, 190. It was up over 100. I know it was more than that. It was 197 to 200. It was up over 100 points. And I didn't eat anything. And I kept doing that. Because I was taking my blood sugar 3 times a day. I took it when I got up, lunchtime, and before bed. That's how I did it. And so I kept showing that. Thank you for being in the background, Mildred. We appreciate that. I know it's Sunday over there. I understand you're getting ready for church. But anyway, that's how we discovered that I had
my uncle already took off for church.
Huh?
My uncle already took off for church. He's the pastor.
Okay. Well, my
Give me money.
my brother-in-law is a what they call a not a pastor. What do they call him? Kind of like a kind of like a deacon, but they're not a deacon. They're I forget what they
Preacher?
call them. Huh?
Preacher.
No, he's not a preacher. It's below that. He's like one of the guys that helps. They got a term for him.
Does it start with a B?
I can't remember what they call them, but it's somebody that helps. They're kind of like a leader of the church, but they're not a preacher. They're not a, they're kind of like a board member or something.
I forgot the name was.
Now, my sister used to be the secretary of the church. I don't know if she's still doing that or not, but
I'm trying to think. No, I'm going to boil my brain for a second.
something like an alderman, Tim. I'm not sure if that's what they call them because they're Baptists. I'm not sure what they call it. It's similar to an alderman, yeah.
Like a deacon.
It may even be an alderman, but I don't remember for sure.
I know a deacon is a rank in some of these churches.
Like I said, it could be a deacon. It could be something. It's like I said, similar to an alderman, but it's a Baptist church, so I'm not real sure what they call it. I was not raised in the Baptist church. I was raised old-fashioned Pentecostal. If you know what old-fashioned Pentecostal is. Yeah.
My uncle, he runs a Pentecostal church.
If it's old-fashioned, they believe in speaking in tongues and dancing under the Spirit. Yes, sir. That's what I was raised. Matter of fact, when I was a kid, TV was evil. It was an instrument of the devil when I was young. It was better than it was worse than movies because if you went to a movie, after a while you get up and walk out because you get tired of watching the same thing. But the TV had different stuff on. You'd stay there all day watching the TV. That is an instrument of the devil. That's what my preachers told me. My bishops.
I think last time I went to a church was like 10 years ago.
It hadn't been that long for me, but it's been a while. I used to go to church once. I used to go to church once in a while with my sister and brother-in-law. But like I said, I'm not really Baptist.
It was just to go there to light up a candle for my birthday.
Yeah, but I would also go. I didn't last time I was home, but sometimes when I'm home, if I'm home for more than a week, I'll go to church with my sisters back home in the church that I was raised in, which is Pentecostal is not as bad as it used to be. Like I said, when I was younger, boys and girls weren't supposed to go swimming together. You're not supposed to, TV was evil. Dancing, going to dances was evil. Girls were supposed to wear skirts well below their knees. They were to have their hair long. Like I said, I was old-fashioned Pentecostal, buddy. Old-fashioned, more old-fashioned than what you probably remember, okay? Because I'm quite a bit older. I'm talking about when I was really young. And that did get better as I got older, but I'm talking about in the 50s. I can remember the 50s.
That's borderline.
TV was evil, man. Like I said, the TVs were evil in the 50s and early 60s. They were the work of the devil. That's before you were ever born, see? And we weren't supposed to go. Boys and girls weren't supposed to go swimming together. Temptation of evil.
That's almost Amish.
Oh no. The Amish probably have more liberties than I did. My grandmother was my Sunday school teacher.
Mhm.
My family helped build that church, and I mean physically build the church. They helped construct it, and
There are people in the 600.
and my grandparents and my mom's brothers. I'm sure my mom and her sisters helped in some ways, but my grandfather, and my uncles helped build that church physically, lay the bricks and all that stuff. They helped build it. And,
Back in the day, my my dad's side of the family built a Baptist church, and my uncle he was a deacon there, and then he went to the hospital, which was sick for like a week or two or something like that,
yeah,
and he comes back to the church. He got kicked out because he didn't donate any money.
that's crazy.
They just publicly kicked his ass out. I'm like, uh, they had him step out on the going down the stairs outside, and the pastor come out with the congregation and start yelling at him. You're not allowed back because you didn't give us money.
Well,
That that place was built in my dad's name, and my family built that
oh yeah,
church.
it's not what have you done for us in the past. It's what have you done for us lately. There's people
Hmm.
that way, and that's just wrong.
And my
Uh,
aunt, she had a heart attack and had a rollover accident and died in her car. And next day, did she have a check in her purse for us? I'm like, that's some stupid crap. Why would you? That's
like I said, that's
morbid,
people that care more about money than the people.
right? And my family built that damn church.
Yeah. Well, like I said, my family, uh, my mom's family, not just because my dad's family was nowhere near there. They built that church along with the preacher's family, the bishop. We called him Bishop. His family, and then another family. It was basically about three families that built the church. That grew up larger, and it's a good sized church. I mean, full size base, a full basement. It's a very big church for the number of people that built it. Then they had what they call the rectory right next door, which they used for a long time. They used it for the dinners and stuff. Uh,
Same thing as mine.
the baptism was in the basement. I was baptized when I was very young in that church. Uh,
We used
but
to have fish fries and cooking ribs out on the side in the parking lot at the church.
uh, well, like I said,
Yeah,
my
fish
my
fries were downstairs in the basement, and the ribs were outside. My dad was cooking the ribs.
like I said, my two sisters that my mom lived with until she became too much for them to take care of, and it's not. Uh, they still go to that church now. My youngest sister goes to a different church, but my two sisters still go to that church. I have cousins still going there. Although I do have cousins that go now that I grew up going to church with, now go to a different church. Uh, so, but yeah, there's uh, the uh, changed pastors many times, our bishops many times. They
Um,
so
his uncle did it.
but yeah, it's changed a lot, but there's still a lot that's very similar. Uh, But so when I go home, if I go to church, that's the church I go to. I could go with my little sister if I wanted, but I figured I usually stay with my two older sisters. So I just go to church with them if I go back home.
It's like
And I'll
me.
see my other.
If I go to church, it's like a wedding, funeral.
Well, we usually have our funeral somewhere else, but now you'll go to the church afterwards for the. They usually feed the family, whoever they'll have something for the family of the deceased. Our whole family will be invited, and everybody that knows them will go to the church and they'll bring in food to take care of the bereaved family and all their people. If
There's
they're
a
connected
dead
to a
body.
church. Huh?
There's a dead body across the street.
Yeah, I know in the Philippines they have the bodies at the home.
They delivered one yesterday. In
I
like
think
Oakland.
I think I'm going to be like my younger brother. I think I'm going to have them cremate me. That's my plan is cremation. And what they do with my ashes, I don't care. I just can't see paying for a plot of ground, even in the States, it's your plot forever. But how long will people come visit your gravesite? You know that in the States. They'll come for a while, but eventually.
I already have one. Right next to my dad.
Home?
Yep.
My older brother's buried back home.
When my mom dies, it's gonna be cremated on top of my dad.
Yeah.
Then I'll be next. I'll be next to my dad.
Well, my dad's. They bought 3 or 4 sites at one time. One for my dad, one for my sister Ruth Ann, and I think my mom and my sister Ruth Ann. I don't think Alta bought hers at that time, but she did buy one at the same place. And so did my older brother. They're all going to be the same graveyard. But I'm not. I don't live back here. I'm not planning on going back here to live. Even let's say I don't, for whatever reason, I can't move to the Philippines, or I go to the Philippines, decide I can't stay there. Because it's been 20 it's been almost 50 years. By the time I go, it'll be over 50 years since I've been in the Philippines. Now I plan on going, and I plan on trying to live there. But you know how things are.
I used to abscond, just end up missing. Back when I was in Michigan, and nobody could find me. Because I just grabbed a 6-pack or 12-pack of Bud Light. I'll get found at the cemetery hanging out with my dad.
Well, my younger brother, like I said, was cremated.
My mom or my brother would drive up at the cemetery and find me.
And in Indiana, you can have your ashes spread in a waterway, public waterway, without getting state permission. It's just legal. You can do it. Now, if you do it on a private golf course, you have to have permission. Now, my brother, my younger brother, his thing was he liked fishing and golf. And a friend of his knew a guy that either owned a golf course or ran a golf course. He got permission to put some of his ashes in a sand trap. So some of his ashes went into a sand trap back home. Some and the rest were put. Some was put in the waterways in Indiana, and some was taken to Florida and dumped in the ocean. Now, if I'm picking, just dump all.
Do that in my golf course.
Just dump all my ashes in the ocean.
Maybe take it to the golf course.
He had some ashes buried in a sand trap.
Yeah, I got many sand traps, and the Flint River runs right between the whole damn thing.
Yeah, but so that's what my younger brother did. Now my younger brother was in his 50s when he passed away. So, like I said, I've outlived both my brothers and my father, but all four of my
Like at
sisters
home,
are still alive,
thinking about
and my mom.
burying Larry in the fucking sand trap in the river. Ay.
Like I said, to each their own. Some people want to, some people would love to have their ashes shot into space.
Mm.
Uh,
There's an actual manhole cover that is going around, is orbiting the Earth, that nobody knows about it. I'm like, really?
well, the guy that played Scotty, no, or was it? No, I don't think it was Scotty. I think it was the Gene Roddenberry, I believe. It might also be Scotty both, but some of them had their ashes flown into outer space.
Mm.
You know, I think
I
it was
think
Gene
some
Roddenberry.
lakes and rivers, you need a permit or something like that.
You don't in Indiana, at least you did. Now, like I said, that it's been a few years now because we're talking. My brother's been dead for a while.
Or just, jump out the ashes and don't tell nobody.
But in Indiana, you didn't need that. If it was public waterway, you couldn't go to a person's private property and do it. But public waterways, you could dump ashes in it without permission. Like I said, now, if you wanted to dump it on private property, you had to get the owner or whoever was in charge of the property to get permission, which was what his friend had to do for the golf course.
You did the ocean.
I don't know if you can do it in the ocean. You can do it in the ocean, but I don't know how close to land you can be. Because that would either be state or federal.
And just,
you got to remember, I know the Navy, if they have a burial at sea, they have to go so far out before they can drop the body into the water. I just don't know how far out they have to go.
But
that would be something else I would consider, burial at sea.
A body is different from ashes.
I know, but I'm just saying, though. I know they have to go farther out. I just don't know how far out they have to be. Do they have to be in the international waters, which is 2 or 3 miles outside off the coast? All right, I just don't know. Yeah, they have. I've been out to sea with a burial at sea. The captain of the ship I was on, his father-in-law was retired Navy, and I think it was his father-in-law. It might have been his grandfather, but I believe it was his father-in-law who passed away, and they held a burial at sea for his father-in-law, who was retired Navy as well. So, but they had to take the body so far out, and you have to keep it in refrigeration to do it. And anybody that went up had to be in dress blues for the ceremony. You had to be in dress uniform. So I didn't go up because I didn't go up because I didn't want to get in dress blues.
I was talking to my cousin because like pretty much all the caskets here are made of thin ass wood, and the handles are just decorations only because it was rip right off. You try to pick up the casket, you got to hold it from the bottom.
I believe it.
He said he's seen a body come out the bottom of the casket. I'm like, oh no.
I can believe that. Because a lot of, it might be somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, just making a casket because they got paid for it, don't really know how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Or they try to go cheap on the materials. They had this happened. This happened in the States here not too long ago. Some lady paid, I forget, like $6,000 or something for a casket that's supposed to remain in her family, and they were going to be able to reuse it. It was a very fancy casket. Their daughter was going to be cremated, and the funeral home talked them into buying a casket. It was fancy design for their family. And they agreed to buy it only because it was going to be able to be reused by their family. Well, the funeral home sold it to somebody else, and the person that bought it refused to sell it back to the lady that family owned it. He only paid $150 for it. She paid $6,000.
I had one uncle back in like
So, like I said, that was just
early
somebody ripping the
90s.
family off.
I had one uncle in like I think early or mid 90s passed away, and he was going to be out for cremation, but he had a casket that was like all cotton,
Yeah,
so he just tossed that thing in the the old oven.
yeah. So they can take it. You can buy a cheap casket and have it burnt with you, but I guess, but I don't know. Like I said, it's something I'll look into more. My family knows I'm looking. I lean towards cremation. They know that. I've told them, so it's nothing new for them. As long as I'm working, my insurance will cover that. I get insurance through work. Uh, death benefits through work. That kind of insurance. And it's more than enough
Or
to.
get
I can have a regular funeral and cover it, but it's just
or get
I
you
don't
an
want.
XC burial.
Like I
Just
said,
throw you out
just
in the
burn my ass
raft.
and whatever's left, split among yourselves and have a party. Uh, hey, like I said, I look more Irish, so let's have an Irish wake. You know what an Irish wake is, don't
Mm.
you? It's a
You get
party,
drunk.
baby. Yeah, get drunk and talk about the good times you had. Remember the good times. Celebrate his life, not his death. That's what an Irish wake is all about, celebrating the person's life. Talking about the good times you had with them. Uh, me,
My
my
alcohol went down.
uh, my brothers and my cousin George and some friends. That's what we did when my father passed away. We had it was just a group of us, but it was more of an Irish wake. We still had the regular funeral, but like I said, my family, outside of my younger brother and myself, I'm talking about my immediate family, my sisters and my older brother, they didn't drink. My mom doesn't drink. So there was no sense having them come with us because we were going to a
Mm.
bar. So we went to a bar and partied with some, like I said, cousins and family friends, that did drink. And we talked about the good times, of my father. My cousin George loved my dad. He liked my dad better than his own dad because my dad did so much for him. Uh, so, it just, we just talked about the good things. And yeah, it was sad, but it was a way of celebrating his life. Uh, but what can you say?
I got into a fight years ago back in Michigan. My dad died. And he's talking about celebrate this, that, and another. I'm like, no, I'm mad because my dad he just died, and I just hauled off on him, and I just whooped his ass at my friend's house.
Okay.
And it's like there's nothing to be happy about my dad passing. I'm not
Well, like
happy.
I said, my dad went on total disability at 47 years old. He died at 61. Now, what happened with my father was, well, he was a truck driver, cross country. And back in those days, back in the 60s, 50s, and 60s, you loaded and unloaded your own trucks. Now, when you could hire somebody to help you or do it for you. But he was, I think, unloading the truck, maybe loading the truck, but whatever it was, he lifted something wrong. And it tore a bow out of place. My father went from
Oh,
200, like I said, he was about 6'3", 6'4". He weighed 258 pounds. He went from 258 pounds down to 150 in 3 months
wow.
and never was healthy again. That was it. I lifted something wrong. That was it. He was done. Uh, and and because the bowel was out of place, he could never go somewhere without knowing right where the bathroom was at and being close to it. Because when he had to go,
Mm.
he had to go. There was no, wait 5 minutes. Or no, it's now, or you're going to go in your clothes. Now,
Almost
years
sounds like
later, he got a Years later, he got an
Crohn's or something.
ileostomy and a colostomy and had a bag put on his side. But at the time that it happened, he had too much damage. They couldn't do it at that time. And so years later, they made enough advancements they could do it. And after he had the surgery, he said something about, if I was faking this injury because I can really enjoy this retirement, because he enjoyed not being on the road. He enjoyed being at home and spending time with the family and having a decent income, because like I said, he was on total disability. And with all of us kids, each kid that's at home under 18, you got more money. So I'm not saying he was as well off as working, but he was well enough off that wasn't doing too bad.
So speaking of going to the bathroom, I'll be right back. There you go.
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't I just go ahead and end it? I appreciate you coming. It's been almost 2 hours, and we're not getting a whole lot of comments from anywhere else. So I think we'll go ahead and end this one. I want to thank you, Jack, for coming. You're welcome anytime and every time. So peace. And everyone else, I want to remind you to be kind to each other. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe. Stay healthy. But as always, try to have fun. All right, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and close this one. Take care now. Love you guys. Bye.